So I've made a couple videos already where I've gone over some cool secrets and Easter eggs in Pokemon Legends Arceus. With that said, there are way more of these kinds of cool secrets than what I covered in those two videos, which is why I am here yet again to cover 10 more cool secrets and Easter eggs in Pokemon Legends Arceus. And honestly, this batch might just be the best of them all. Let's get into it. First up is a very nice attention to detail. When you come across the Pokemon Sudowoodo in this game, while watching it from afar, you'll see it walking around, chilling, and overall just minding its own business. However, when you approach it, and in particular when it sees you, Sudowoodo will immediately stop moving entirely and pose itself to look like a tree. Which is obviously Sudowoodo's entire MO, but it's insanely cool to see it actually illustrated in a game like this, and as I said, is a great attention to detail. Yet another nice attention to detail that's very easy to miss comes from a place that you arguably spend the largest amount of time in the game, and that's Jubilife Village. Over the course of the game, the music that plays in Jubilife Village will gradually grow and evolve to become the Jubilife City theme that we know from the modern games. It begins as somewhat unassuming at the start of the game, but in the middle and towards the end of the game, it begins to gain that recognizable melody that so many people know and love. That's not even all there is to this though, because in addition to the music, the actual village itself also grows over the course of the game, as you begin to see new houses and buildings being built that eventually you can even walk into and explore, so they're not just for decoration. Overall, this is a great example of just how cool even some of the smallest details in this game truly are. The cool small details don't stop coming though, as another amazingly cool one involves Chansey and Blissey. These two Pokemon can be found primarily in the Alabaster Icelands and normally are pretty skittish, scurrying away and eventually disappearing whenever they see you. However, if you've been injured or have low health, instead of scurrying away, these Pokemon will actually directly approach you themselves to make sure you're okay, before scurrying away once again after you've recovered your health. This is obviously in line with how Blissey and Chansey are the healers of the Pokemon world, and how they assist Nurse Joy with healing Pokemon in both the games and anime. However, this is the kind of detail that you wouldn't really expect to see within real-time gameplay, which makes its inclusion all the more amazing. The Pokemon references don't stop there though, because we've got another one involving Magikarp and Gyarados. Within the Coronet Highlands, you can find these two Pokemon within small lakes that are adjacent to each other, with one being at the top of a cliffside and the other down below. These two small lakes are also connected by a waterfall, and overall, this entire area of the map is actually a subtle but very direct reference to these Pokemon's origins, which is that of a Chinese proverb that depicts a carp ascending a mighty waterfall, and at the top being transformed into a dragon for its efforts, which is exactly what we see in the game with the Magikarp in the lower lake and the Gyarados in the upper one at the top of the waterfall. This is a great detail and a prime example of why this game is so special. This next one isn't necessarily an Easter egg or anything, but it's something that I found very interesting. Once again, within the Alabaster Icelands, there is a side quest involving the construction of the Ice Peak base camp. A man named Bryce is looking for his partner Craig, who's supposed to help him build the camp but hasn't been able to find his location. Once you find Craig and reunite the pair, Bryce makes a remark about how cold it is in the Icelands, and specifically mentions CubChew in his dialogue. Now, normally someone mentioning a Pokemon like this wouldn't be significant, but what's interesting about this moment is that CubChew isn't a Pokemon that appears at all in Legends Arceus, as it's not a part of the game's Pokedex. I find it really interesting that a Pokemon would be mentioned like this despite not being a part of the game at all. And what's even more interesting is that this remark comes from a man named Bryce, which is very similar to Brycen, the Ice-type gym leader from Unova, which is where CubChew is also from and is of course Ice-type as well. Which makes me wonder whether this might also be a subtle reference. Something that's very, very, very interesting in the game, once again, lies in Jubilife Village. And to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what triggers this event, as I randomly stumbled upon it while playing myself, and it wasn't a part of a side quest and didn't have any other indicator that I could see as to what caused it. Nevertheless though, if you talk to Sanqua of the Construction Corps at some point in the game, she will make mention of the fact that she has been working on a painting that's meant to depict the Spacetime Rift that caused the events of the game. While discussing this, she makes two very interesting remarks, stating that eventually people in the future will have no memory of what the painting is about, and that she wishes to leave the painting unnamed, so that everyone can get their own message from it. She also says that she's going to leave it with Commander Komodo for safekeeping, but I didn't see any sign of it with him afterwards. At first, I struggled to determine what this painting could be, but then I realized that it's most likely meant to be the picture that we see right at the beginning of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and BDSP, on the TV special about the Red Gyarados. The picture shows a mountain with an ominous cloud billowing around it, with lightning striking through it, which is very similar to the Spacetime Rift that hangs above Mount Coronet in Legends Arceus. And given that this doesn't have anything to do with the Red Gyarados discussed in the TV special, and the similar events in Diamond and Pearl haven't happened yet, since this is at the beginning of the game, this picture is probably the one that Sanqua is talking about that she painted, which is an amazing reference and another really cool connection to the modern games from Legends Arceus. Also out of Jubilife Village, this next one is also really cool, but it does have a bit of uncertainty to it. One of the longer ongoing quests in the game involves Choi, the ancestor to Charin and the man in charge of the in-town shop, and Tao Hua, the man who leads the supply corps of the Galaxy team. The quest involves you helping Choi get more items for his shop from Tao Hua, who refuses to hand them over for some reason. Eventually, as you go through the quest, you find that the two are at odds with one another because Choi has married Tao Hua's granddaughter, Yui, and he doesn't exactly approve. While the two characters never totally make amends in the quest, they do present a very interesting proposition with the revelation that they are now related, because it in turn means that Choi's descendant, Charin, is also related to Tao Hua's descendant. Now, this is where the uncertainty comes in, because while Tao Hua does bear some resemblance to Opal from Sword and Shield, meaning that Charin and Opal could possibly be related, the connection isn't as obvious as the other ancestor characters. However, given that all of the other leaders of the Galaxy team's various cores are the ancestors to various characters from the modern games, it's most likely the case that Tao Hua is the ancestor to someone, whether that's Opal or someone else entirely, which ultimately means that Charon is most likely related to someone that no one would have ever expected previously. Moving out of Jubilife Village, another interesting side quest can be found in the Crimson Mirelands. Within the base camp that you first arrive at in this area is a man with a Pachirisu that will appear at a certain point in the game. He says that he wants to test your strategy and skill in battle by watching you battle with only a Pachirisu, which if you do will ultimately net you a small reward. However, given the specific mention of strategy in the quest and the involvement of Pachirisu, it's possible that this could be a reference to the 2014 Pokemon World Championships, where Sejun Park famously won Worlds thanks in part to his use of a Pachirisu, which was a big surprise to everyone at the time and became very significant within the community. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Game Freak was indeed referencing this particular moment in Pokemon history with this side quest. Also found in the Crimson Mirelands is the bane of every Legends Arceus player's existence, Parasect. Both Paris and Parasect are an absolute nemesis in the game because they're just so frickin' angry, but another very interesting thing about Parasect specifically can be found in its Pokédex entry. Its dex entry makes reference to and confirms that versions of Parasect without the mushroom on its back actually exist, mentioning how these forms of the Pokemon move around much less than their mushroom-clad counterparts. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time a form of Parasect without a mushroom on its back has actually been confirmed to exist, which completely changes much of what we know about the Pokemon, which is pretty crazy and cool. Finally, we have yet another very interesting one coming out of Jubilife Village involving the Survey Corps. The Survey Corps is a branch of the Galaxy team that you are a part of as the player. The symbol of the Survey Corps, which can be seen on your own uniform, is pretty distinctive and garnered some speculation during the pre-release period of the game as to what it could be. Well, it turns out that this symbol actually originates from a symbol on the hat of the female player character from Pokemon Battle Revolution of all places, which makes you wonder if that game could somehow tie into the lore of Legends Arceus at all, given how focused on lore Legends Arceus is in the first place. It most likely is just an Easter egg and doesn't actually mean anything, but it is pretty interesting nevertheless. And there you have it, everyone. 10 more awesome secrets and Easter eggs in Pokemon Legends Arceus. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe if you're new for more content. Also, if you enjoy what I do here, consider checking out my Pokemon remixes on Spotify and other streaming services. Listening directly supports the channel right here, and it makes a huge difference in me being able to make the best possible content for you. Plus, it's Pokemon music, so what's not to like? So check that out if you can, and if you are already, thank you so much. With that said, I will be back with another video very soon, and until then, as always, thank you all so much for watching, I love you very much, and I will smell you guys later.